Google Docs or OneNote. But not everybody has a touchscreen monitor.
Hello, how you doing today again? Welcome to another episode of TDMS Mobile, your mobile tech guy. I'm Timko.
Many of us takes notes every day on an app that also organizes them and allows us to retrieve them quickly. So today I'm going to take a look at OneNote and compare it to Google Docs for a note-taking application. Let's get into it. Yes, Google Docs is a word processor, but today I'm going to show how you can use it as a note taker. I'm going to compare Google Docs like a OneNote application. In order to do that, we're going to have to focus on the document tabs. As you can see on the Android version, I have the document tabs open. To get to the document tabs, you either click here, document tabs, or click down here in the bottom and the document tabs will open. On the web version, you go to View, Expand Tabs, and Outline Sidebar. Or you can just click on here that shows the tabs. So on this here demo, the very first tab is the Parent tab. Second tab, Sub-tab, then another Sub-tab. But if you notice after that, you can't create any more tabs. Parent tab, Sub-tab 1, Sub-tab 2. So what also helps greatly is the pageless mode in Google Docs. Why? Because each tab we have a blank canvas that we can edit whatever we want. This means I can make a quick note at the very first tab and be done. So let's take a look at the demo Getting Things Done notes that I made up. So if we look at the web version, when you hover over the tabs, these tab options appear. When you click on them, you can add another sub-tab, delete, duplicate, but let's focus on the move. Let's go to tab 1 and we'll look at the move into. You can move it out of the group. Now it's its own parent tab again. And you can move it back into the parent tab to be a sub-tab. As you can see, everything syncs quite well. The Android app is also following. Back into parent tab again. But what you notice when you come down into the very last one, you can move it out, but there's no more options to create another sub-tab. So you have parent tab, sub-tab 1, sub-tab 2. Now we'll take a look at the Android one. You can move it. You can create a sub-tab. You can create another sub-tab. And then that's it. Because this here sub-tab is down at the bottom, there's no place to move it to. This one can't move either. This one, however, can move up. This is the parent tab. And it moves the whole tab. Just doesn't move that part, it moves the whole tab. So the difference here is you can only go up and down, move the tab if it allows you. But on the web version, you can move it into another tab or make it a parent tab. So let's go back to the web version and look at the emojis. Choose emoji. Whatever this pop-up window has, you can choose the emoji. Now, if we go to the Android one, there's no choose emoji. So now let's look at the note part itself. If we look at this here tab that I created, apples versus oranges, there's heading, there's two headings. So you can expand the heading and collapse it. Now, if we take a closer look, title here has no expand and collapse arrow, neither the subtab. But if we look at heading 3, it does. So your headings can expand and collapse items. If you notice, heading 3 is inside of heading 2. So they do increase and decrease, like a paragraph. So if we look at apples and oranges over here, we do get the icon arrow to expand, but then it disappears. You can't collapse it again. Not like you can on the web version. Now let's move on to the find. On the web version, edit, find, and replace. You get this whole pop-up window. You can choose all tabs or current tab, but you don't have to replace anything. And if you look, you see on the web version, it did find the tab with the word super. And then also it found it again on subtab 2. Now you can use hotkeys on the web version. Control H. Now let's take a look at the Android version. When I use Google Docs like this, I prefer to use the shortcut key, but if you have the tab sidebar open like I do, and you want to use your mouse, you have to X, get to the 3 dots, find, and replace. Now, if you want to find while the document tab is open, the shortcut key is the same. Control H. Super. If you notice down here at the bottom, it showed the tab and it brought you to that page. You click on the arrow, brings you to the next page with the tab also. So now let's take a look at OneNote. The structure of OneNote I'm not fond of. There's a notebook, then there's a section, and then there's a page. Same here on the Android version. Notebook, section, and then page. For me, this kind of structure's not good for taking quick notes. So you really got to plan taking a note. Another thing that I'm not fond of in the Android version, mainly, you click on the page you want to work on, the whole page takes up the screen. So let's simulate this. And now I have parts of the note I can't see. If I was using this in a split screen mode, fine. But if I was using multiple applications that take up screen space, I have no way to get to the other notes. For me, I'm lucky. I have a touch screen, so I can move stuff around. But if you don't have a touch screen, you're not going to be able to move the notes around. You can zoom with the scroll rule. So as you can see, the Home tab on both Home tab ribbon has all the text editing features that OneNote offers. As you can see, in the web version, you expected to have the whole screen to work with. And again, at least you can manipulate the document, move it around. On the Insert tab ribbon, you can insert a lot of things on both applications. Pictures, attached files, links, and they both have audio recording. So the Android OneNote, I'm not very fond of. For example, the checkbox when you create a note is on the insert. On the web version, go to the Home tab and you have then options for a checkbox. There's not a uniformity here. Another lack in uniformity is the tags. Again, on the insert, on the Android version, but on the web version, you have to go back to the home and go to your checkboxes to get to your tags. These would be your tags. The advantage of the web version is you can click anywhere, right click with your mouse, you immediately have your checkbox, then your drop down menu for tags and checkboxes. You don't have that ability on the Android version. With the web version OneNote, you can insert symbols and emojis. On the Android version, you don't have that ability. Now with everything syncing, you can insert them on the web version. This is another thing I'm not fond of. The syncing is not as fast as Google Docs. That may appear eventually. The Draw tab in ribbon. The drawback on the web version is shapes. The only way to draw a simple circle or a box is to do it free-handed. As within the Android version, you can select shapes to draw. There we go. Now there's the box. Oh, there we go. There's the emoji that just popped up on the Android version. The syncing is very slow, unlike Google Docs, where it's almost immediate. The last tab, View, they both are very similar. You can change the paper type, change the rulers, grid line, and then a blank paper. Same on here, but you have a few more options. Page color, you can change the page color and see what happens when the syncing is so slow. On the web version, page contains conflicting changes. Click here to show versions of the page to unmerge changes. So let's compare the OneNote Android and the Google Docs Android. Let's consider the workspace itself. What I don't like about OneNote is these text boxes. So if I were to open up one of these, let's open up both of them. As you can see, the Android Google Docs adjusts to the screen size. Now, if I were to move things over for OneNote, I have notes over here on the screen that's off the screen I can't get to. Unless you're like me and have a touch screen monitor where you can move stuff. But not everybody has a touchscreen monitor. Comments and collaboration. There's no ability here in OneNote to comment and collaborate. You can share or send it to somebody, but you can't do comments and collaboration. So like here on Google Docs, I can create a comment. And for me, it's not just about creating a comment. It's about if I have a thought about the document or the note, but I don't want to put it in there just yet, I can use it as a sticky note. And now associate it with this here where testing is highlighted. I know there's a comment. In certain shapes on Google Docs is not happening. And I'm talking about the circle and the square option. I can insert an image of some kind, but it has to be readily made. Google Docs can't do it by itself. Even on the web version, Google Docs doesn't have creating shapes and boxes. Audio recording. OneNote can do embedded audio recording. And I did this earlier.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
As you can see, the recording's embedded, not just in the Android version, but also synced with the web version. On Google Docs, there's no audio recording. There is a workaround with the web version of an extension called Beep. That's what this here link is. But if you're working offline, you see it brings you to a web site to play the audio recording back. I don't know why the audio didn't come out on there, but this is the workaround. Now, if you're offline on Google Docs, you're not going to be able to get to the URL with the audio recording like you can with OneNote. There are pros and cons for OneNote versus Google Docs to be your note taker. You have to decide which is best for you. Thank you. Have a nice day.